I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I like exclusively hunt for old things. I don't follow like
Yeah,
new
yeah.
chunk trails or look for stashes. It's only the old stuff. And I just like one thing is the nostalgia, like I said, like I think those versions of Minecraft were cooler. And also like that's where all the, like there's no like bedrock and portals nether water that you're ever gonna find at like a new base.
No.
But you can find that shit at old places, which is why I think that's really cool.
Yeah. You also, so you found the Pot Bob base, which had those two end portals at it, but you missed the portals, right?
Yes, I found everything that was there except for the M portal, which really sucks because Stinky ended up selling that portal to FitMC for $420.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard about that. Is that actually true? Or is that
Yes, that's
bullshit?
true. That's
No
true.
way.
He's shown the receipts. He's shown the DMs. It's true. I guess there's actually I don't think anybody's like talked about this publicly, but I don't really care, so I'm just gonna talk about this. There's this like 2011 base that's like 200k out, and it's been ungriefed since like 2011, and there's now a group of new fags that have showed up, and this is what I mean when I say like nobody's talked about it publicly. Like these new fags have been building a base there for a couple months at a base that has been ungriefed since 2011. So I think I would consider that the oldest active base on 2B2T.
Hello everybody, it's me, DigMC, and welcome back to finally another episode of the DigCast. Episode, I think 10 we're on now, so that's pretty cool. My apologies for the lack of uploads lately. I've been doing a bunch of shit IRL, I've been going to university, so yeah, hence why I haven't uploaded in 3 weeks. Realistically, the weekly uploads aren't going to continue, but hopefully I should be pumping out like 2 of these a month, so that'll be pretty epic, and I hope you guys can still enjoy. Anyways, today we are joined with a special guest, Courier6. Say hello.
Hello everyone, Courier6 and Nomad King here.
The Nomad King himself. So, okay, Courier, when I reached out to you about joining or coming on the DigCast, why did you accept?
Well, I don't know, I like talking about my experiences on 2B2T, all the places I've been. It makes me feel like like an old Vietnam vet telling his grandkids his war stories.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we should move swiftly onwards to those stories. So, I'm correct in saying you joined 2B2T during the Russia War, right?
Yes, I joined from Rusher's video.
Right. So, during the Russia War, were you kind of... How sold were you on the whole, Fit versus Russia LARP? Were you kind of like a young kid at the time?
Well, I was 14 when I joined the server. I had sort of like lost interest in Minecraft at the time, but this YouTube video just like kept appearing in my recommended over and over and over. And so eventually I watched it and I decided to join the server. And I don't know, it was just like sort of my type of thing that I had always like wanted to do in Minecraft, and so I was just like hooked instantly. I was sold on the LARP for about like a week,
right?
But then I sort of figured out that it was just like for the YouTube video.
Yeah. What side were you on? Were you Russia or a veteran?
I was a diehard Rusher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what, you had like the shield and shit at your base, or you didn't really care?
I was never rich enough to make the shield. I just died too many times. My first day on the server, when I logged in, I had items in my inventory, and I had the the veteran queue.
Oh shit.
So I guess I had at some point when I was really young logged into the server once and then forgot about it. So I immediately went to the Valley of Wheat and made a house, and it got grief the next day. But yeah, I just sort of like fucked around at the Valley of Wheat at spawn for like my first few months on the server.
What, did you try and like rebuild it or some shit?
A little bit, but I mean it was basically too late for the Valley of Wheat at that point.
Yeah, it didn't look so good during the Russia War, I can't lie.
It was a really cool place to just like hang out though. It's sad that there isn't really any places like that on the server anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we'll get on to more on like how the server's changed and shit near the end. So yeah, so was there kind of like one event or like one kind of moment that strikes you as kind of what told you that 2B2T was going to be the server that you're going to be playing for the next 6 or so years, or was it literally just the fact that it's anarchy?
I guess it was finding out about like the age of the server and the map size. It was what sort of piqued my interest, but I mean I never would have guessed that in 2016 that I would still be active in the community in the year 2022, almost 2023.
Yeah, it's crazy how crazy what 2B2T does to a motherfucker. Yeah. All right, so let's just skip straight forward to the present. So what would you say your kind of reputation is on 2B2T? When people think of Courier6, what do you think's mostly associated to you?
I think people think of signs. I think people think of Netherwater. I mean, I'd say that's what most people know me for nowadays.
Do you have like a lot of
interactions
within the community, or do you kind of just like have your group of friends and sort of stick to yourself?
I'm not so much active like within the like actually playing on the server. I'm more so just in the present interacting with people who I sort of met on 2B2T, and just have like a sort of close-knit group of friends from the server, I guess, is how I interact nowadays.
Pretty much same as me, to be fair, just playing Discord.exe.
That's, you put it perfectly.
Easily, you could play 2B2T without buying Pro. Sick. Okay, so let's go back to the early days. Well, not really early days. Let's skip forward to like 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
So you said you were affiliated with the original 2B2T museum, which I had no idea of. So what's kind of the deal with that? I mean, you said you're always into 2B history, so yeah, just give me that story.
Well, I found out about the museum from FitMC's. He did a couple streams on it, and the deal with the museum, I don't know how much you know about the museum, but basically it was someone got a hold of Project Vault World, and basically made it into a public server, and so for the I guess what a lot of people didn't realize is that all those bases that were on the 2B2T museum, like 70% of them were not griefed. So I basically throughout like 2017 just went around visiting the cords to every single like base that was on the 2B2T museum, just collecting like shulkers full of collectibles and world downloads and all that. And yeah, I mean, in that way, the 2B2T museum sort of like kickstarted my my nomading on the server.
Kind of kickstarted your interest for the server's history, maybe.
Yeah, just interest in like base hunting and yeah, the history. And I eventually became a moderator on the 2B2T museum.
How did that go down? You like met the owner, like Toma, right? Was the owner?
Yeah, I was friends with Beardler and Toma, and I think it was Beardler who got me access as a moderator, and I was a moderator until the whole drama with that server went down.
The whole shit fest, yeah. Did you have access to like secret codes that the public didn't have access to on the museum?
I know there was like they had things on the server that were like didn't have warps, that were like active bases, but I never like visited them or anything.
Really? My curiosity would have got the better of me, I can't lie. Okay, well, that's fair enough. Well, what were your sort of opinions on how the whole thing was ran? Like, I mean, when you first found out about it, did you like hear the story of how they just like ripped Project Vault and was like, yeah, this is cool, or were you like, that's kind of gay?
I didn't know about the Project Vault thing at the time. I thought it was Toma's own world downloads that he had been given, but I think it's just like, at least nowadays, it would be considered like completely just dishonest and shitty to run a server full of cords to ungriefed bases, basically just giving away free cords. I mean, nowadays, like Turbin doesn't let anything on his archive unless it's griefed, which is, I think, how things should be done.
Sure. Are you a fan of how Turbin runs the archive nowadays?
Yes, I think Turbin does a much better job than the museum staff ever did.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
was the 2B2T museum ran? Like, was it kind of a big like a big project for Tom, or is it kind of just something he sort of like did on the side, didn't really care about, or was he like
Uh,
genuinely invested into it?
I mean, he invested quite a bit of effort into it, but I don't think it was ever like as organized and serious as Turbin runs the archive. I think it was more so just sort of like an amateur like project. Like we would get world downloads and add them if they were interesting. And I know Offtopia had like a list of chords that like the moderators we would go around like taking world downloads of. But I mean, it was sort of just like a collection of warps. Like Turbin has everything organized into categories and properly like named, which was never how the museum was ran.
Yeah, it's so sick. I mean,
Mm.
I've asked multiple times Turbin should come on the podcast. He doesn't feel like he has enough to say. Or I don't know what his reasons are, but yeah, he's a fucking
Yeah.
sick guy. I don't. He's probably one of the most well-respected people on the server.
I have, out of every 2B2T player I've met in 6 years on the server, I have the most respect for Turbin.
Damn, that's a
Yep.
big honor. Yeah. Fuck. Okay, so where did you stand on the whole like drama that killed off the museum?
To be honest with you, I don't even like have that good of a recollection of what happened because I wasn't really playing the server that much at the time. So I mean, you'd have to refresh my memory if you wanted to ask me about that.
I think the whole thing was didn't like Alpha Computer manage to like get access to the fucking hidden chords or some bullshit or some like privileges, and then
I know the Alpha Computer had like signs on the server that you could right click them and they would give you like creative mode, but I don't know if he had access to op or anything.
Right, yeah, and then in the end it was the whole thing that like Beardler leaked fucking Jared's IP or some bullshit which scared everyone
Yeah.
off. And, yeah, some shit with that. Okay, fair enough. So that was the whole shit with the museum, I guess. So once that shut down, you said you were inactive. So kind of like when did you sort of come back to the server? Because that was in like mid 2018, I think.
Yeah, I came back around like probably early 2019, and that's when I started doing like a lot more like base hunting on my own, like far out rather than just going to chords from the museum, because I think like the travel hacks had gotten like a lot more like convenient around that time. I know there was like pig speed
Pig
and
entity
stuff back
speed,
in
yeah.
2018.
That shit was so
Yeah,
nice.
but when the elytras came back, that really gave me like a huge advantage for base hunting and that sort of thing.
Right. So has base hunting always been like your kind of main thing, or have you ever like I'm sure you've been part of group bases, but like have you done projects as well?
I've done a few projects. So like I've done a solo base I built at like a Dawn Fearer base, but those were really the only two like projects I've done on the server. My view has always just been like, I can build for free and without paying $20 a month in newer versions of the game with like updated blocks and all that. So I don't really have an interest in building on 2B. It's always just been like finding every single base that I can, every single like old thing or legal that I can on the server, and collecting items.
Being a nomad. Yeah. How is like?
Yeah.
Surely you've fucking collected a massive, selection of shit over the years, right?
Well, so I had about I think I had about 15 shulkers just full of like collectibles and books and like unique items, and I always kept them in my e-chest. I never kept them in in like a dungeon chest or stash or anything, because I knew there was always a chance, no matter how slim, that they would be found.
Yeah.
But that really backfired on me when the whole what was it called, Log4j
Oh, you got
Is that what it
targeted with
was?
that.
thing happened, and Baba J logged into my account and burnt every single one of my shulkers, which I would estimate to be over $500 in value today.
Ouch.
So, yeah, that kind of sucked, but
But you weren't hit by the deauth exploit of like early 2020.
That's what it was. It was like the.
Oh,
I
it
think
was
that's
that.
what the
Okay.
exploit was. I don't know the difference between the two, honestly.
Yeah, the Log4j was just the one that happened this year. Or 20. Was it 2021?
Yeah,
I can't even remember.
it was the one that happened in early 2020 is when this happened to me.
Yeah, that was the deauth exploit or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What was kind of like would you say, your most valuable item?
My most valuable item, I mean, I guess for a time I was the only person on the server to have alpha textured snowballs, but I eventually ended up deciding to give them away, which I regret doing. But had I not done that, they would be gone forever and burned along with all the other items that Bubba J burned.
Yeah,
So,
where did you find those?
frickin' gave them to me as a gift.
Oh, that's sick.
And yeah, they were pretty cool. I had yeah, I guess I just had a lot of named items books. I had some alpha leaves that had unique what do they call it, MBT tags.
Yeah. Do you ever
Yeah,
find
I
like
didn't have anything.
MBT-less like items? Because I know there's like MBT-less potions and shit, which like only a select few people have.
I'm sure I've come across them at some point, but I never really like checked the MBT tags of items I found, because I didn't know that was a thing until after the whole account spoof happened. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so what made you kind of like want to base hunt specifically for our bases? Because when you started base hunting, so obviously you were part of the museum, you checked out all the cords on there. So at the same time, were you also like following like alpha trails and shit, or was that kind of later down the line?
Well, I guess as for what made me want to base hunt, it's like just sort of like the nostalgia of like old versions of Minecraft. And I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I like exclusively hunt for old things. I don't follow like new chunk trails or look for stashes. It's only the old stuff. And I just like, one thing is the nostalgia, like I said. Like, I think those versions of Minecraft were cooler. And also, like, that's where all the, like, there's no like bedrock and portals, nether water that you're ever gonna find at like a new base.
No.
But you can find that shit at old places, which is why I think that's really cool. And as for like, when did I start following chunk trails and all that, I mentioned that like I came back to the server in like early 2019 after the the museum got shut down. And I had this idea back in 2017 that, like, hypothetically, if you were to go in a giant circle around spawn, you would find every chunk trail. You would be able to mark down every chunk trail and follow them. But at the time I thought nobody would be crazy enough to actually do that. But then in 2019 I became friends with like 4Pilot, and there was like all those Elytra exploits going around. So we decided to actually do that, and we circled nether spawn around about 130k out.
Oh, you did nether spawn?
Yeah, nether spawn. We circled nether spawn in 130,000 block radius.
What, in the nether or in the overworld?
In the nether.
Okay. So yeah. 800k out, basically.
Well, a little over 1 million out, because 125k is 1 million. Yeah, so we just marked down every single one of those old chunk trails and just followed every single one of them.
How many were there, do you think, that far out?
Probably, I'd say there was probably about 150.
Oh, okay.
Old chunk trails, yeah. And we found some extremely cool things by doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get onto that later. What's kind of the furthest out that you've actually found one of those chunk trails to go?
Mac tonight, who's sitting in the audience, knows all about this one. I once followed a chunk trail for about a week straight. It was I think it led to about 6 million blocks out, and it was just like, I followed that thing for so fucking long. It killed me, and it just led to like a really cool like 2014 base. I mean, I was a bit bummed that there weren't anything like super illegal out there, but it was just like a nice, cool little old base that I had found. Following all those chunk trails, I noticed that like back in like 2012, 2013, people would go fucking millions of blocks out just to build like a little like shit shack and nothing else. Like, whereas people nowadays will go 500k out and make just these like incredible massive builds. And I just I thought that was interesting, like the change in how people make their bases.
That's true, but to be fair, a lot of new fags nowadays do go out like 5
That's
mil
true.
just to make a little shit shack. And
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who base hunts for new bases on 2B knows the pain of following a massive chunk trail and finding a fucking cobblestone hut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Okay,
like,
so I think one of the most notable things you found on 2B2T has to be a Hausemasters base. So
Yeah.
can you just kind of give the whole background to that? Like, you know, what was your reaction when you found that shit? And like, how did that all... Because was that the one that like got deleted like after you found it?
You might be confusing it with the like Brad Pittville thing.
No,
This was a different deal.
I know what you're referring to. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, okay. There was this guy who I used to like base hunt with, named 123 Fly. He was a really good base hunter, and he messaged me one night and said like, "Oh shit, I found this massive base," and then he was like, "Oh shit, I found a Hausemaster sign here." And I kept asking him for chords, but he would never give them. But I knew it was on the neg pause. That's all I knew. I knew it was negative positive, or maybe it was positive negative, whatever.
How
It was
did
over a
you
million
gather
blocks
that?
out. Well, because he before he found the base, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out and base hunt on neg pause."
Yeah.
But yeah, me and 4Pilot just decided to go and search every chunk trail on the neg pause, and it took us about 2 weeks, but eventually we found that the base. And okay, so by this point, when the guy who originally found the base, 123 Fly, it was completely intact. Nothing was griefed. Everything was still there. But when me and 4Pilot got there, chunks of the base had been like world edited out, like not blown up or anything, but they were like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just imagine like a square chunk of the base just like taken out in a bunch of different spots. And I mean, I knew it was world edit because only certain blocks had been removed from the chunks, and the grass was still like, there was grass in every spot where there was grass, but there was dirt under everywhere where there used to be blocks. So
yeah.
I knew it had to have been done instantly rather than mined, or the grass would have had time to grow back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that makes any sense the way I explained that. But shortly after that, 4Pilot he logged off of the server for the night after we found that base, and the next morning he was back at spawn. Like, he had just like died from nothing. So Hausemaster, I believe Hausemaster had killed him.
So
and
weird.
I emailed Hausemaster and was like, I don't know, hey, why did you world edit out this base? And he just gave like just like some extremely vague answer, like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, so he actually responded.
Yeah, he did. That was like one of the last times he actually responded to my emails. He played dumb basically, but I mean, it was pretty obvious what had happened. But
I wonder what he was trying to hide.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know 123 Fly had been hoppering every chest there, but he didn't get very far. He did find a couple. He found some Hausemaster books, which used to be 32K books. So that was a thing back in the day.
Right. So maybe Hausemaster didn't want anything circulating or something. I don't know.
I guess I would assume that was it, because if there was more, he technically could have hoppered them out. But that's just like, that's Hausemaster's such a fucking bitch for that.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
Like, it's just interfering on that level. Like, it really kind of takes away from the anarchy,
yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
yeah, it does.
So
I mean,
other
it
than
was,
the Housemaster, I actually
yeah,
no. Let's continue with the Housemaster base.
yeah.
That got a FitMC video, didn't it? Or a
It got a
Salsi
Baron
one.
Dome video.
Baron Dome, that's the one.
Because
Yeah.
I used to like give my video ideas to Baron Dome just because like I sort of like I was like I don't know FitMC's too larpy. He doesn't deserve to make videos on these things.
Mm. I mean, I
But
think
I don't
anyone
really
on
care
2B
too
who's
much.
interested in or is actually like passionate for 2B history kind of doesn't like Fit.
Yeah, but I eventually reached a point where I stopped caring about that sort of thing, and I just started giving things to FitMC for the meme.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess it's just fun just to have the video made on you.
yeah, it's fun.
So other than the oh, actually, yeah, was that Baron Dome video like the first time you'd been exposed to like a lot of players?
I think I did a Baron Dome video before that on the end portal that I found, and there might have been a few others, but
Was that the one at Stealth
yeah,
Nacho's base?
yeah, it was the one at Stealth Nacho's base.
Oh, so you actually discovered that place?
I wasn't the first person to be at Stealth Nacho's base, but I was the first person to find an end portal there.
Oh shit, that's
Which is
cool.
interesting because the cords to that base were actually posted on a public screenshot in FacePunch all the way back in 2013.
What,
So
Bedrock
cords to that
included?
had, yeah, with the bedrock included, and a few people had visited the bedrock, but nobody had found the end portal, and it's just like it's like with that and like the bases on the 2B2T museum, like I feel like back in the day there was just so much things on the server that were just hidden in plain sight.
Mm.
Like cords were literally public,
I
but
mean, I
people
guess
just
possibly an explanation for that, why they'd never found the end portal, is that back then, before elytras, it was a lot of effort to load in an area around the base, whilst obviously with elytras, you just spend some time
yeah, it's
circling
true.
it.
Because even I had been there in 2018, and I didn't find the end portal until I revisited
Oh,
about a year later, and I was revisiting just for the sake of like exploring the rest of the loaded chunks to
yeah,
see if there was anything else there that I had missed, and
there
of
was
course I
indeed.
did miss something.
Yeah. You also, so you found the Pot Bob base, which had those two end portals at it, but you missed the portals, right?
Yes, yes, I did. I even had the chunks where the portal was loaded on my mini map, but it was under the ocean, and I didn't have portals on my search,
Ah.
so I just missed it.
Did
Which
you
that's
find the other portion of that base, like the fucking jungle
Yeah,
bit?
yeah. I found everything that was there except for the M portal, which
Ah.
really sucks because Stinky ended up selling that portal to FitMC for $420.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I've never heard about that. Is that actually true? Or is that
Yes, that's
bullshit?
true. That's true.
No way.
He's shown the receipts. He's shown the DMs. It's true.
But how would FitMC like know he wasn't getting scammed?
I guess he visited first. I mean that's the only conclusion
Oh.
I could come to.
That's hilarious. I had no idea
Yeah.
Fit's ever done something like that. Okay, that's pretty
And
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's thanks to your video, I think, because you made a little tour of it when you found it, right?
Yeah.
That once that FimC video dropped, I instantly recognized the base he was at from your video, and I went to the chords before anyone else did and stole
The
some shit.
mushroom thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing that the cords too were public. That was on the 2B2T museum,
Oh, really?
and I didn't even go to that base up until like 2019 because I saw it on the museum, and I thought, there's no way this place still exists. Somebody must have gone here and blown it up. But like to my surprise, I was wrong, and there was an end portal there.
Two impulses, yeah. Yeah, so what's kind
Yeah.
of some other things that stand out to you out of the things you found when you kind of loaded all those trails? Like, what's the coolest stuff you've discovered?
The coolest thing I've discovered, I would probably say the end portal, Hausemasters base, double slabs is another thing.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much all the double slabs on the server are gone now. I don't know what happened to them, but at one point me and 4Pilot and G-Slick went around and collected them all on a piston airship and moved them into a mountain. So we had 3 double slabs, which was that was a lot of fun. And we were under the impression that, like, oh, these aren't that special because at one point the server is going to update to 1.14 and they're going to be craftable, but of course, like, that hasn't happened yet, so they're still an extremely rare thing. And another thing would be you know, all the nether water, but specifically when we found, or well, I found in 2018 I found nether water on the nether roof. I don't know if you've seen like pictures of that or anything.
Don't think so.
But originally, me and Thebes had this plan that we were going to build an airship on the nether roof, and when 1.13 came out, which of course never happened, but we were going to bring it to the nether 00 on an airship machine that was possible to build in 1.13, and flood nether 00. So
how far out was that?
that was about 20k out, but eventually, like, when I found that in 2018, there was nothing there. It was just the water on the nether roof. But when I came back to it in 2021, I think somebody had broken a hole in the nether roof and built an entire base there using the nether water.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So because there was nether water stemming from all the way up at 256k nether, me and G-Slick and 4Pilot and Scomer G lava casted that entire area in the nether.
What, to grief the
so
base?
It's the biggest nether lava cast, well, probably the only nether lava cast on 2v2t. I think I remember the cores. I think it's like, I don't know the quad, but it's like 16k, 9k. So yeah, it's like a little over 20k out. And FitMC made a video on that. That was one of the coolest things I've done on 2v2t, lava cast base on the nether.
Yeah. That, I mean, it's kind of related to that. That really fucking pissed me off when Hausemaster implemented that plugin that cleared all the shit on
the nether roof thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another one of the coolest things I found on the nether roof. There used to be like there was quite a few like little bases up there. Like I found like some place where somebody had planted like an entire like forest of trees and
that's sick.
And made a little base up there. At around 1 million, there was a really cool old base that had like a train station build on the nether roof, and I'm sure there was like a bunch more things that will just never be found because they're gone.
Yeah, it's really sad.
But yeah, that pissed me off.
Yep, same.
I know.
Fucking Hausemaster, bro. Actual autist. Yeah. Anything else like that you discovered that kind of comes to mind?
I guess there's actually I don't think anybody's like talked about this publicly, but I don't really care, so I'm just gonna talk about this. There's this like 2011 base that's like 200k out, and it's been ungriefed since like 2011, and there's now a group of new fags that have showed up, and this is what I mean when I say like nobody's talked about it publicly. Like, these new fags have been building a base there for a couple months at a base that has been ungriefed since 2011. So I think I would consider that the oldest active base on 2v2t.
Okay, 200k, that's really fucking yeah. I mean that used to be considered safe, but ever since kind of 2020 happened,
2011,
and people spent fucking years of their life just flying around with elytras within like 250k, and I thought kind of everything within there would have been sort of found. I mean, I guess
me too. Me too, but I actually found this place in 2020, and no one else had left a sign there since 2011. So
shit,
I think there's quite a bit of stuff left that's under 1 million blocks out from spawn.
I mean, but surely you found it all, right? Because like, if you've discovered I'm assuming what you did with the nether trails, you've also done with overworld trails, right?
No, because we circled we decided to go 130K out nether because out at that distance, everything is very like clear cut. Like you can tell like which each individual chunk trail, you can like differentiate them all and follow them all, easily write them down. But under 1 million blocks, it's just like it gets really convoluted. Like if you go flying around at that distance, you're gonna have like a hard time like marking down every single chunk trail in the nether. So everything above 1 mil, like we found, but under 1 million, there's still like a lot of stuff to be found. But we
Right.
just didn't look because it's just so much effort
It's
to
so aged
search.
with all the different versions and chunk chills and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've is that it in terms of like your exploration? Oh, actually no. In 2020, you kind of were you one of the forming members of like GS Trading with like Scholar G, 4Pilot, that lot?
I was like friends with them, but like like I said, we did the whole lava cast. We did the slabs, but I never really was part of their whole group. But another cool thing I found, the pyrobites, the stash thing that FitMC made a video on recently. It was the spot where Pyrobite had made his stash. He had teleported out there. Yeah, I was actually following a new chunk trail, like newer chunks, and then I went through the portal from the nether, and in the overworld it was like 2012 chunks, and I was confused because I knew there was no way that somebody could have gotten out there without making a chunk trail in the nether, so I knew it was teleported to, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I eventually found out that it was Pyrobite's stash, where it had been world edited out. Another thing.
Oh, so it was gone by the time you got there.
Oh yeah, it was gone by that time, but it was just cool to see the teleporter chunks.
Yeah.
Another thing was, I think it's possible to make now using exploits, but at the time it was impossible to make outside of old versions, so the amount of it was limited. But floating water, there used to be like some super cool like floating water structures, just like massive upside down pyramids of water source blocks.
Yeah, there was some of that at the forgive me for calling it the wrong thing, the Pop Bob Tower base.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I actually griefed that pyramid there.
Oh, okay. So what made you sort of like? Because you've griefed a few old bases, right?
I've griefed like some newer bases, I think, but I griefed like the only old base I griefed was 4Pilot's beta base, where he had been building. That was actually a really cool base. It was one of the old 2011 bases we had found, and he decided to build a base there using only 2011 blocks, so that it would be like authentic to its original structure.
So is that just a self grief then?
Yeah, I mean, I was a member of that base, so I guess technically it was a self beef.
So there was actually drama around it, which made you grief it.
Yeah, there was just like a little bit of drama between like me and 4Pilot, but I mean, we're still friends. But the reason I decided to grief the water pyramid was just because I wanted to see the satisfaction of seeing the water all flow down.
Nice.
That was the only reason.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's Courier6 up to, since 2021 and 2022? Like, what's kind of been your thing?
I guess in 2021, I went to Imps 2 with Jared and went to that bedrock hole, that little bedrock hole thing, and we griefed that. That was cool. That was I guess that was like the coolest thing I've done in recent times, but since then, like, there hasn't really been like a whole lot of bases left to find for me. So I've done like a little bit of hunting and exploring, but other than that, like the past couple of years, I really just haven't been that active. and pretty recently I got prio banned, so
Oh, really?
I'm
Why
yeah.
was that?
Because I made a joke in chat saying that I was selling Stinky's docs for $15, which
And
is
that got you
an
prior
obvious
banned.
joke. An obvious joke.
Yeah.
There have been much worse things said on 2B2T. There have been much worse things done. There used to be fucking map arts of hentai with like little girls in them,
Yeah.
which was tolerated. But I guess me saying I'm gonna sell his docs for $15 is where we draw the line.
Yeah,
And
what's your kind of opinion on that whole like house prior banning thing? Do you think he's kind of stepped out of line?
I think there's a lot of people who say like, oh my god, the server isn't anarchy anymore. But I think people, I just think they're like being a bunch of like whiny little bitches. Like, if you're gonna go around building lag machines that make the server unplayable for everybody else and like making it impossible for you to play the server, like, I think it's okay for you to like get like prio banned for that, or
For
like the
sure,
book
yeah.
banning thing. Like, if you're gonna fucking physically ban people from the server, then you should face some sort of consequences for that. But I think when it comes to like people who are in like a situation like I'm in, I think that is like overreach, especially considering a friend of mine gave me his account to use, and that account got banned too. So I figured out that not only do you get prio banned, you get fucking IP banned.
Yeah.
And not only that, but his account, his other account, his alt, which I had never even used, never logged on to, got prio banned as a result of
Just for
that.
being
So
associated with you, yeah.
yeah, just for having bought Q under the same financial information is what I assume is the cause of that. So I think that's like a pretty big overreach.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we've covered that topic in like all the past like
I'm sure you
4
have.
podcasts. Yeah. I mean, it's a big issue that fucking, I think a lot of people agree when I say that House kind of shoots himself in the foot with, because like he's kind of killing off his active player base with it. But yeah. So I mean, I understand. So you don't play as much now because sort of you had your little method a couple years ago, and once you kind of took advantage of that, now it's kind of back to just potluck of running into things, which of course, since 2B's more explored than it ever has been, it becomes harder and harder to do. So that makes sense. Have you tried your luck with any other servers like SimPvP or anything, or does it just not hit the same?
I tried to play SimPvP for a little bit, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same vibes. I mean, SimPvP is vanilla, so like it's sort of, it's fun to find things on there. There's some really impressive builds, old builds on Sim that are like more impressive than anything I've ever seen built on 2B2T in old versions.
Yeah, they have one hell of a dedicated fan base.
Yeah, in that aspect, it's better, but I don't know, it's just not the same. You just don't get the same vibes on SimPvP.
Totally agree, yeah. So I know you haven't really interacted with the community as much as some people throughout the years, but kind of what are your opinions on the community today, and sort of maybe how's it changed in the time that you've been playing?
Let me think about that. I think back, earlier in the server's existence, in, like 2016, 2017, the server was just filled with people who were like genuinely like assholes, like extremely edgy, like racist, just like everything wrong with them in that way. Whereas the server now is filled with people who aren't like that, but try way too hard to be that way. And it's just like, it's just super forced and unfunny, and oh god, it's just so obnoxious. And I think people also nowadays take the server way too seriously. Like there's just a lot of like groups where it's like, okay, like there were groups back in like 2016, 2017, but it was based on like people who knew each other and wanted to build bases together. Where now there's groups like it's like you have to fill out, you have to like apply and then climb the ranks by like advertising for them, or like
I mean, that's not a new thing. That's been around for 5 years now.
I guess so, but it's like, look at like Conquest, for example. Like you have to like you have to like accumulate a certain amount of like points in their like favor or whatever to like go up a rank. Whereas like if you were like a fucking member of Imperium back in like 2017, like you ranked up based on like how much they liked you and like if you were a good builder, whatever.
I feel like all successful groups do have to run like that. The whole like point system, like I mean, Voco did it back in the day. It never works. It's just 2B is a game for the members. So if you're making the game unenjoyable, then you don't get success.
Maybe I'm just biased, but I think the community now is just filled with people such as Oofplux, who are just like 5'2" and fat.
Did you watch the Oofplux interview?
No, I've seen like parts of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or FitMC texted him.
Yeah, FitMC texted me at lunch. Fuck's sake, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see Oofplux in your younger self?
Maybe a little bit in like how he like he's got like a persona where he just like tries to be like edgy to like piss people off, because like that's sort of how I acted in like 2018. But
sure.
I never was a fucking greedy pig like Oofplux, where he like tries to make a FitMC video on everything and anything.
Yeah. Okay, so so we've established that you think 2B's kind of got worse in the past 4 years. So if you could have joined 2B2T in any period of time, assume that your age of joining was the same, because otherwise you're not joining when you were fucking 8 years old. What period of time would that be?
I would join the server in 2012, and I would offer everybody $100 per Bitcoin. To be completely serious, I probably would. Well, I don't know the rules of this scenario. Like, if I joined in 2012, would I be like the age I was in 2012?
No, that's why I said your age would be the same. So you'd be 14.
Oh yeah, I would join in 2012. Well, maybe like. Okay, maybe I would join just before Rusher joined, because that's like the point where like that was the point in time where there was like the most bases on the server to be found that had not been griefed. Like basically everything, the majority of things were like still out there ungriefed. There was still like an active like illegals market on the server. Like there wasn't the plugins there were now. The server just had the biggest like amount of stuff to find and do at that
I think
time,
there was also kind of before it's the Russia war that eradicated this, but there was kind of a universal respect for like well-known places such as the Valley of Wheat and other bases that kind of people knew about, and everyone that knew about it could go check out, leave a sign
like
and
there was,
not touch it.
It wasn't that people didn't grief things back then, like for the sake of griefing, but like there was just a sort of like just like different aspect about the community. Like there was Spoiler Alerts Castle, NFE, Ziggy Town, which had all been sort of griefed at some point or another, but they still like existed and were repaired.
They went down to bedrock,
yeah, whereas nowadays, like, a spawn base will exist for like a total of like 2 days and then immediately get griefed. But I guess that just comes with like there being a community of thousands of people. Like you can never have that close-knitness that there was back then.
I definitely think the community's more like, or players in general are just more clout-driven nowadays. Because obviously
that's true.
The promise of clout back then, it was literally just you're playing a fun game.
Yeah, the only clout that existed on 2B2T was at that time was respect from other
Yeah,
players.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where now
Which you
it's
didn't
like
get from griefing random shit.
Yeah, now there's YouTube.
Yeah. So okay, let's fast forward to kind of your most recent accomplishment. I guess I'm not really sure, but how did you get voted to be the king of 2B2T? Where did that whole thing come from?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't. I think there was just the Courier6 meme, like the Courier6 being the Nomad King, like just because it's so like silly in itself. I think people voted for it for that reason. And I mean, also that election was sort of like rigged anyway. Like I basically like got everybody I knew to sort of vote for me, but even with that, like that in itself wouldn't have been enough to win. So
yeah, how many votes did you get?
I think there was like it was like a total of 220 something votes, and I got 72 out of them. And I mean, I did get a lot of people to vote for me, but I did not get 72 people to vote for me.
That's a lot of friends.
So I knew I don't know. I guess it was I didn't really know that I had that sort of reputation in the community until that happened.
Yeah, where did the whole Nomad King like meme come from? Because I hadn't really heard of it before.
I think it came specifically from the FitMC Netherwater video, where he referred to me as like was it like the Netherwater protector or something like that, and that sort of became like the Nomad King meme.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, well we've made it to your. I guess that's your 2B2T career. Anything I've missed?
I think that's about it.
Sounds good. Okay, well now let us move on to some people's favourite and some people's most hated part of the episode. We have the Patreon questions. So obviously we let our lovely Patreon players who like crashing the server, killing us and fucking setting shit on fire to submit some questions. And I only have 4 here because some of the questions I'm not asking you. But the first one comes from Lazarus saying, how much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love trolling?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I love trolling? Probably like a 7.
Okay, what is your biggest troll on 2B2T?
My biggest troll on 2B2T? Convincing everyone, probably becoming Dima. The fact that I am Dima and that no one else knows.
Sorry, what?
No one knew until now that I am Dima778.
You're Dima?
The fact that the
you were on my podcast?
Convincing. Yep. This is my second.
This is your second time.
This is my second time on.
Do for everyone watching your Dima voice. Play the character of Dima.
I am Dima. I am Russian. I am Dima.
Holy fuck! I thought you were joking, bro.
Yep.
I thought you were trolling. That's crazy. Okay, well, I mean, you've asked yourself a couple questions here because these questions come from Dima788. The first one being, can Dima be unbanned from Mongoloid Kahanate?
Yes, just send me a DM, Dima, and I'll get you that invite.
There you go. Congratulations, Dima. The second one from Dima being, what are your thoughts on the Spawn Masons?
My thoughts on the Spawn Masons. I think they should try the 2-for-1 sausage pancake breakfast discount at International House of Pancakes.
That is quite an insightful answer. I'm not gonna lie. There's levels to this. And okay, next one coming from Catgirl Amy. Do you like Fallout New Vegas?
Yes, I do. That's one of my favorite video games of all time, which is why I chose to name my self on 2B2T after it.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Oh, Courier6 is a Fallout character?
Yeah, it's a Fallout reference. It's the protagonist in New Vegas.
Oh shit.
Which it's always fun getting recognized for that. Like when people will be like, "Hey, do you like Fallout New Vegas?" And
Other
to be chat.
cultural individuals, yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny. And last one coming from Xmill being what are your thoughts on the Binding of Isaac?
I've never played that game, so I don't have any
He
thoughts on
doesn't
the
have
Binding
thoughts,
of Isaac,
guys. Okay.
unfortunately.
Well, Walter Hardwell White, thank you so much for coming on. This is a good
Uh-huh.
conversation. I hope people enjoy it. Sorry about the 3-week delay, but as I said, we're getting some shit together. And also, as you can see, the background is the same background we used for Dima versus Uflux because I haven't got all my mods set up yet on this new university laptop. So yeah, it's still a work in progress getting everything to the point it was before. But yeah, hopefully I shall see you in not too the distant future. Hopefully in the next couple. I won't be uploading next week because I'm busy, but hopefully the week after we'll get someone out. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy. Please subscribe, like the video. Go subscribe to Courier6 on YouTube. He's got some good base tours. And yeah, any final words, Courier?
Subscribe to FitMC.
Subscribe to FitMC, guys. There you go. Okay, peace out. Take care.